Hey there, everyone. It's GG Sober Sun. We are, hanging out here at a little pond. February 16th. One drink started a train of thought that became an obsession. And from then on, we couldn't stop drinking. We developed a mental compulsion to keep drinking until we got good and drunk. People generally make two mistakes about alcoholism. One mistake is that it can be cured by physical treatment only. The other mistake is that it can be cured by willpower only. Most alcoholics have tried both of these ways and have found that they don't work. But members of AA have found a way to arrest alcoholism. Have I gotten over my obsession by following the AA program? And obsession is the key word there. The obsession of the mind, as it's referred to. There's two parts to the disease of alcoholism. One is the obsession of the mind, and two is the phenomenon of craving. If I get over, there's no way to get around the phenomenon of craving. Once you become an alcoholic, right? Once you become alcohol dependent, once you have one, you're going to rationalize the next, right? You might have one and control it, but you're not enjoying that one, right? We're not. We just don't. That's the pattern. But if we're enjoying it, we're definitely not controlling it. That's the downside. Have I gotten over my obsession by following the AA program? Yes, the obsession is overcome by becoming a different person, basically, by practicing the 12 steps, by admitting I'm powerless over alcohol, that my life is unmanageable, and then following the rest of the steps in order. You know, Dr. Bob went out and made amends the day after his last drink, but it doesn't go on to encourage everybody to follow that example. So we can maybe assume that he was either met with cold indifference, or that some of those amends went horribly wrong, and that may be why he dealt with cravings for years after he put the plug in the jug. So, all those regrets and maybe some of those amends gone wrong came back to haunt him. Who knows? But history tells us that he did deal with cravings and perhaps the obsession of the mind for a number of years afterward. Some of us get relieved of that obsession of the mind to drink immediately. When, for me it was, thank God I have a solution, right? That I don't have to white knuckle this sobriety thing, that I can hang out with people who are enjoying life sober and are happy about it. All I saw my entire life, and I'm sure I've said this before, up until that point, was people who were white knuckle sober, to include my father, who didn't, the only time he could feel sort of happy, joyous, and free, a distorted version of happy, joyous, and free was when he had had a few drinks in him. Meditation for the day. I will be unruffled no matter what happens. That's they use the word try, but I will focus on being unruffled no matter what happens. I will keep my emotions in check, although others about me are letting theirs go. I will keep calm in the face of disturbance. Keep that deep inner calm through all the experiences of the day. In the rush of work and worry, the deep inner silence is necessary to keep me on an even keel. I must learn to take the calm with me into the most hurried days. Yeah, this is a good reminder for me, because for a while I was really doing good at not exceeding the speed limit wherever I was going, right? Which required me to leave earlier than I normally do. And most of my life, I would wait until the last minute or get sidetracked and leave later than I expected. And then I felt rushed, even though I may not have been rushed. And I felt, anyway, so I've gone through a period where I did not exceed the speed limit. I have a church fellowship brother who, he looks like this big scary bodybuilder guy with a mohawk, and but apparently he's well known for not ever exceeding the speed limit. And I like how stoic he is. You know what I mean? The more I get to know him, the more I know where that comes from. But, you know, part of, I think, that stoicism is just not being hurried, not feeling the need to fill silence with words. And I know I have that issue, but I'm going to feel hurried sometimes. And the more I trust my higher power, my higher power, I believe, is the creator of all things, to include the time dimension. And I've asked my higher power to not distort time, but to stretch it or to compress it in order for me to get what I believe he wants me to do done, right? To be of service to others. You know, sometimes I stack my schedule too tight. And what is too tight? It means I start feeling full of self-pity because there's no time for me. Well, it's all time for me because it's all service to my higher power, right? So why would I feel all, and I'm always with my higher power. I don't have to, or my higher power is always with me, vice versa. They're not mutually exclusive, right? So if my higher power is with me always, what do I mean by there's no time for me? Well, the old me as a drinker would have been like, there's no time for me to drink. Well, that's not available to me anymore. So what is me time? To sit and scroll on social media, to sit and scroll on the internet, to sit and watch movies? Maybe, but, you know, that's not always super fulfilling. And in fact, sometimes it's a distraction. So the most hurried days are days when I cram my schedule full. You know, it talks about it in the big book, I think, where it talks about looking for what we can pack into the stream of life. And I think that is so awesome. Pack into the stream of life. That is a thought that I hadn't occurred to me in a long time, but that's the way my last week has been. My mom has been in the hospital. I've been back and forth. I volunteered to help to drive a guy to have a procedure, a medical procedure, and then of course, he's not been, he didn't bounce right back from it, so I've been checking in on him and stuff like that. But again, those are not actions to polish my halo or to get brownie points or store up, or even to store up treasures in heaven. It's things I get to do, and it gets me out of me. So the most hurried of days, the most hurried days, that last sentence there, that's interesting. But I get an opportunity to do a lot of activity, but I don't need to rush, right? I don't need to rush around and be full of self-pity because I'm so busy. And that has cropped up a couple of times this week. And so I'm kind of, dare I say, preaching to myself in this. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may be still and commune with God. I pray that I may learn patience, humility, and peace. Yes. No matter what's going on in my life, no matter what's going on in my day, throughout my day, I can commune with God. I can talk to God. I can turn to God with any troubles or frustrations or sadness or loneliness or anything. I can turn to God. The big book in step 10 says, when these crop up. And it lists off a few things like selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, fear. But I think any unproductive emotion, and most of us alcoholics have plenty of unproductive emotions, right? And so we can let go and let God, as the short, quick saying goes. But the book says we ask God at once to remove it. We talk to somebody about it if it's super troubling. We make amends if necessary, if those emotions that have cropped up have motivated us consciously or unconsciously to hurt someone else or create confusion in their life. Then we turn our thoughts to someone we can help. So it's pretty simple, but it's just a matter of asking God to remind us that it's that simple. That when I am bound up by my own emotions and I can't see clearly through my frustration or my anger or my fear or my loneliness, that I remember to turn to God. Just hand it over. It's easy when I'm, it's not always easy. But sometimes I allow myself to indulge in anger or frustration, cussing and spitting and everything else, right? Because I deserve it, right? Just like my drinking, really. It's just another level of that. But once again, how good do I want to feel? Hand it over to God. Let go, let God. This recovery process for me has been more about letting go than it is about working on anything. Being mindful of what's going on in my mind and in my gut. Because feelings are information. If I'm full of fear, is there a danger in my environment? You see? Am I walking too close to the edge of something physically, right? I'm on a hike. Am I walking too close to the edge of the cliff, right? That's going to motivate me to get the heck away from it as best as possible, or at the very least, tread lightly. You know? So any and all emotions are information that I can turn to my higher power. Even lust, yeah, just information. Just information. Hunger, information. So trust God, clean house, help others. Look up, aim up, rise up. Keep coming back, y'all. Love you.